Today I'm going to be coming up with my first D&D playable character. Hi, I'm Seb and I make stuff. And this character is going to be a part of the D&D podcast Tomes and Tales that I'll be participating, run by my mate Cody, previously from Of Dice and Magic. In the past I've been the forever DM, so it's going to be really interesting for me coming up with my first player character. What I've come up with is a Lotus Den halfling that is a cleric of the death domain, and his name is Hugle. The original idea for Hugle came from a weird video I saw online of a woman that liked to collect roadkill and display it in a pretty way, using elements of the nature she could find around the area. This was her way to pay respect to the dead, and I thought it would make for an interesting characteristic. And from there, I expanded on it quite a bit to build out my character. I went with the Lotus Den halfling because I had the idea that this character would have been raised in a community that worshipped nature, and it was all about growing flowers and life. But somewhere along the way, he had a run-in with the goddess of death. And from this, he learned that life and death are just two sides of the same coin. So I set off in designing my character. To get some initial ideas for my design, I jumped onto Dalle, which is an AI image generator, and entered in the description for the character that I wanted to create. And it produced some great images to use as a starting off point. From here, I jumped over to Hero Forge and started to build my character. I selected the halfling model, but made him a little bit bigger as I didn't like the head to be too out of scale. From here, I just went through and started picking out some designs while constantly referring back to my original AI generated images to find something that felt like it had the right feel for my roaming, nature-loving death cleric. So within our world, Hugle comes from a small village hidden away in a forest called Potts Hollow. It's a combination of Herringon and halflings that all worship the goddesses of nature. But throughout his history, he's come across a few situations that have led him to worship the goddess of death. So while he comes from a world of growth and gardening, he now has a respect for the dead and the idea of the continual cycle of life and death. Finding a gardening trowel on Hero Forge helped me add a little bit of extra character to him, as this is now his weapon of choice. Originally named Swale, which is a gardening technique, as everyone in his family is named after a gardening technique or a plant. He later redubbed himself to Hugle after he had his first interaction with the goddess of death. You see, a Hugle culture is a mound bed full of dead and decomposing plant life that gives life to the next generation of plants that grow among it. This was what Hugle could see in the world, and the understanding that death played a very important role in the continual cycle of life. Whilst this wasn't quite in line with the rest of his family, it definitely made for an interesting character. Once I was happy with my basic design, I downloaded the model and opened it up in Shooterbox to add in a few extra custom details for specific things that I wanted to show with this character. I really wanted him to be wearing a wreath of flowers, so I found a few small models on Thingiverse as well as some bits that I'd paid for from a Basing Bits collection, and started to play around kit bashing these onto my model. I've used this technique in the past where I just sort of mash them together on Shooterbox and then export them as an STL. It takes a little bit of fiddling around to get them to line up perfectly, but in the end, this is definitely worth it. The next custom piece was a bird skull necklace. This is a character piece that we've developed between myself and my DM that is his connection to the goddess of death. This necklace was a gift from his goddess after his first interaction with her, and it's his symbol of divinity and his spellcasting focus. So it was a very important piece to make sure that I had on my model. This model comes from a Basing Bits Kickstarter that I supported, and I'll have the link to the My Mini Factory in the comments on the side. Once I had it lined up, it fit perfectly as a necklace on the original piece that I'd selected from Hero Forge. I then started to grab a few more small elements from that same Kickstarter to give my character a few more bags and pouches, as he's a nomad and he needs somewhere to keep all of his bits and pieces, including the maps that he'll be drawing along the way. As I'm more of a map maker than my DM, we've come to the idea that Hugle can be a cartographer. As he's adventuring the world, he's starting to map out the entire civilization and everywhere that he's been. This way he can have a half-formed map that we develop as we move through the game, and it'll give me the ability to help take a little bit of a load off the DM. I was pretty happy with how Hugle's looking so far, but I found a couple of different flowers in amongst that basing bits kit, so I decided to swap out a few of the Thingiverse flowers that I had already put on there to give him a little bit more variation. And now that I had Hugle looking pretty much exactly how I wanted him, it was time to export this model as an STL by saving as and just adding .stl as the extension, then re-importing him into the software. Now he is one solid piece. I brought in a few different versions of the model and scaled him so I would have a couple of options once he was printed out, just to make sure that the size would be what I wanted for my halfling. I then prepared the models, added in some supports, and sliced them up to get them ready for my 3D printer. I'll be printing these with Anycubic clear resin on my Elegoo Mars Pro 2. I've had this printer running for about 3 years now, and I love the results that it gives me, especially using this clear resin. And after a few hours of printing, I have my first miniatures of Hugle ready to paint. Firstly though, I've got to clean up the excess resin by dunking them in an alcohol bath, and then cleaning off all of the excess under some hot water. The hot water also makes it a lot easier to remove the model from the supports. And once we have our miniatures dried off, it's time to finish the curing process with some UV light. And now to begin the painting process. I give them a coat with a cheap grey primer that I use for basically everything. Then I come in with a coat of Citadel's Wraithbone white spray paint and leave them out to dry. So now that it's done, it was time to decide which of the two I wanted to go with. I actually painted both of them up, but ultimately went with the slightly larger size. First things first, adding some skin tone. I did this with contrast paints to start, but ultimately came over it with another flesh tone. And then it was time to move on to his leather outfit. I started with some snakebite leather for his tunic, and moved on to a Cygor brown to give him some nice dark leather pants. And since I liked the way that this colour went down, I decided to use the same colour on his boots, the leather strap that runs across his chest, and his leather armbands. I then started playing around with some other contrast browns to put in a few more details on the straps running around his body and his belt, although ultimately I would repaint the belt to a nice blue. And since I was here, why not give the first base coat to his pouches with some snakebite leather. As I mentioned earlier, I decided to change up the sash around his waist to a nice blue. I thought that he could use a little bit more colour instead of just a mesh of different browns. So once I had painted up the sash around his waist, I added the same contrast blue colour to the cape to give it some pop. And I really liked the way that this turned out, contrasting against the bland colours of the rest of his leather armour. Then adding some dryad bark and silvers to a few of the smaller details and the items that we have on our character, before moving on to his blonde hair. Starting this out with a base layer of Zandari dust, and then coming in later on and highlighting it with some Ushabti bone. At this point, I decided I wanted to clean up his face a little bit, so I came in with a layer of Citadel's Kislev flesh. Ultimately, I should have used a wet palette for this because it ended up looking a little bit gluggy. Then painting in the first layer of yellows on the flowers that he has attached to the sash around his neck and in his hair, before filling in a few extra details that I'd missed along the way, like his quiver and the arrows on his back. Now it was time to add those Ushabti bone highlights to the hair to really make this pop against the skin tone that I had added in. So far so good, he's starting to represent the character that I had in my head. As I've been painting him, I've also been painting a larger model that I'm probably going to use for some kind of display piece. And at this point it was time to clean up a few areas that I had missed along the way, and add in some highlights and details to really make some of these awesome little sections of the model pop. Next, I grab some white paint. First off, I use this to add a center section to the flowers that I'll later come in with a black on top of, and then started making the eyes. I overdid this at first with a big blotch, but I came in and cleaned up around the edges with that same Kislev flesh paint that I used earlier, helping to bring everything back to some nice straight edges before coming back in with a Reikland's flesh shade to give me some more depth in the facial details. I overdid this a little bit, so I grabbed out that Ushabti bone from earlier and cleaned up the highlights on the hair that I had covered up, before grabbing a black contrast paint and changing up the center of these flowers to a darker color, as I thought that the white popped out a little bit too much for this character. Then using some brighter yellows from Citadel to add highlights onto these flowers to really make them pop on the model. Then I used a brighter blue to add some highlights to the cloth on Hugle's waistband, armband, and the cape over his back. And then while that was left to dry, it was time to paint up this base that I got from HeroForge. I'm giving it a really bright green edge, as it was a request from my DM that my player character has a bright colour around his base to help distinguish him from the rest of the miniatures on the board. Then dry brushing this same green over the rest of the base that I had already coated with a contrast green, and then blocking in some of the rocks and the acorns, while not paying any attention to what was in focus. I then coated this with an Agrax Earthshade and painted a few more details onto the leaves around the base before grabbing out the gel superglue and sticking my miniature down to his base. I then cleaned up a few of the smaller details on the mini and decided to protect the entire thing with a matte clear coat. And with that, I can call my player character miniature done. I'm not entirely happy with the glogginess of the paint on his face. As I mentioned, I should have used a wet palette, but I didn't, and in our hot Australian summers, the paint dries very quickly. But from the tabletop distance, he looks great, and I can't wait to get him on a table and actually play my first game as a player. Now, I just have to come up with a voice for Hugle. I'm thinking I'm going to give him a slightly Irish accent. It's probably one of the only accents that I'm a little bit more comfortable with, although I'm sure I'm going to slip in and out of it. So, this is Hugle, the Death Cleric of the Queen of Corvus. He has a belief that there is a natural order to things, and if you go against that order, he'll put you in the ground. But he'll give you a good service and make sure your grave is covered in pretty flowers. If any of you would like to see more of Hugle, I'd love for you to check out the podcast once we get it up and running. We'll be doing our Session 0 this weekend, and I'll be sharing the links as soon as we have them available. I can't wait to see what happens in the world of tomes and tales. It's going to be a gothic horror setting, and my character's going to be a little bit of a fish out of water with all his bright colours, yet he'll fit in just fine with his worship of the goddess of death. So I hope you guys have found some inspiration in this video and can get out there and make your own player characters and maybe even your own custom miniature. If you have any questions about this process, let me know in the comments below, and I'd love to see you as a new subscriber on the channel. Until next time, never stop making stuff.